Hello BookTube, Sarah here and welcome to my channel. Today I'm coming to you with my August 2018 TBR. Say it with me everybody. TBR time! Yay! You guys know these are amongst my very favorite videos to film every single month. And I do apologize, I am a little delayed on this one. I usually try and get them up by the end of the previous month, but because I took a little break last week, that's why this is going up a little bit later. But yes, I definitely want to sit down and do this video for you guys. So yeah, a couple things before I get into it, because I have a huge TBR, you guys. Oh my gosh, you have no idea. I have got 14, 15, 16, 17, 19, 20, 26 books. 26 books are on my August TBR. Now, to be fair, I actually read 27 books in July. And as I like to say now at the beginning of these videos, this is subject to change. I will not necessarily read every single one of these books this month. These are the ones I would like to get to. Some of them may be swapped out for other books and like drop completely or what have you, but this is kind of my goal. And I do try and at least get to definitely read like the review books that I have for the month, and I also try and do the my challenge books, like the challenges for groups, like the RRC, the Romance Readers Reading Group on Goodreads, and the A Million More Pages challenge of what to read in 2018 challenge. The other ones like the TBR jar pick and, you know, trying to read back series and stuff like that, those are only a handful of books. There's only like 3, I think, of those. But those are the ones that are like kind of the extras that I can switch out if need be. You know, if I'm kind of running out of time essentially, or, you know, whatever. So anyway, couple other notes before I get started. The first thing that I wanted, I just looked down to make sure I was actually recording. The first thing that I wanted to mention was, and I mentioned I was going to talk about this, is that yes, I have come to terms with reading series out of order. Because I'm reading a lot of books for review now, not only for NetGalley but also for the Read Bliss channel, which is fantastic and it makes me super duper happy. A lot of them are not like the first in a series or the second in a series, and I haven't necessarily read the beginning, the earlier ones. So I got thinking about it and I'm like, you know what, I can deal. The reason I was so kind of adamant on reading series in order is because I didn't want to miss a book. I know it's rather easy. You can go on Goodreads and just kind of like bring up the series and look, okay, did I read book 3? Did I read book 4? I apologize also for the shadows, guys. I am sitting in my normal area, but usually I push the chair back, but I'm feeling lazy tonight, let's be honest. So anyway, that was my concern. And then I kind of ran across this spreadsheet that somebody did on Google Docs. And it's not for series, but it's for Netflix. So it's this person's like, you know, watching through a bunch of different series or a bunch of TV shows on Netflix. And like I said, my big issue was making sure I read making sure I got through the series and didn't miss any books. Now, most of the series I read, you can read them out of order. It's not like a Harry Potter or an Outlander where you kind of need to read the book prior to kind of get what's happening in the next book. You can read most of the contemporary romance, most of the cozy mysteries, you know, the Crew of Hunters, they can all be read out of order. They're standalone novels. I mean, you might get like a hint at something that happened in a book before, but typically I don't read books back to back to back in a series. So, you know, it might be 6 or 8 months since I read that last book. Like if I read book 3 in January and then in August I went back and read book 2, I'm not necessarily going to remember every single thing that happened in the book I read in January. Does that make sense? So anyway, I found this spreadsheet that somebody did for Netflix. So essentially what I've done, because I've created my own in Google Docs, is I've listed all the series, like in the ones I'm reading out of order, essentially. I've listed them all down the side, and then across the top, I've listed like book 1, book 2, book 3, to however many books there are in that particular series. And then all I did was I put a Y, like I put N's for the ones that I haven't read yet, and then I put a Y for the ones I have read, and I color that little square in. So I know I've read that book. So now I've got a quick visualization. I can just look at it instead of going to Goodreads and bringing up the series and searching through the list. And it's a few extra steps. And, you know, like this way, I like visuals. I'm a very visual person. So this one's working for me. So the other thing is you're going to notice there's a couple Christmas books on this list. They are books for the Read Bliss channel because of for a video that I'm doing in August. which I'm super stoked about, and I'll tell you guys about it when I get to my review books in this list. And yes, I am going to be reading a couple Christmas books, and my big thing also with that is, like, me reading things series in order and me only reading Christmas books in December, those were self-imposed restrictions, essentially. Nobody told me I had to do this. I wasn't doing it for any other reason other than the fact that it worked for me. So, anyway, I'm reading these books. I'm going to be reading these books for review, essentially. And I'm okay with reading books outside of December now. The more I'm thinking about it, I think the thing is, it's not that I have a problem reading books that are Christmas books outside of December. It's just that in December, I want to immerse myself in all the things Christmas, because I am such a holiday-loving person. I love the lights and the tree and the Christmas carols and the specials on TV and, you know, the family and, you know, stuff like that. It's not the getting of the gifts. It's the season itself. I just love that season. And, you know, probably because I love winter too, and it's like the start of winter and stuff. Yeah, I'm crazy. I'm one of those crazy people who actually really likes winter. Not when it gets to minus 40 degrees out, that I could leave. But I do love a pretty day when it's snowing and it's cold, and I hate the summer because it's too hot. And, okay, anyway, now I'm complaining about weather. So let's continue back. So my plan is that I will kind of allow myself to read Christmas books throughout the year, but in December, my focus is going to be on Christmas books. Does that make sense? So yeah, so anyway, now that I've rambled on for almost 10 minutes, let's jump into the books I'm actually reading this month. So like I said, 26 books. I'm not going to get a lot into all of these, because frankly, I honestly don't know a lot about them all, but I am super excited about them because they all look fantastic. So, let's start off with the Triple RC Challenge. This is the Romance Readers Reading Group on Goodreads. If you're new to my channel, I will post a link to the group in the description box below. It is a group on Goodreads for romance readers, and every month they do a monthly challenge where they give you 10 prompts, and you need to pick a book that goes with each prompt. And as I like to say every single month, you do not necessarily have to stick to romance books for this challenge. A lot of the prompts are very open-ended, and I have fit cozy mysteries in here and all kinds of other things. So don't feel that you need to be restricted, but it is a fun little challenge every month. So the first book is A is for August, and the book I'm going to be, or I don't know why I didn't write the prompt down, but it's essentially read a book that starts with the letter A, or with the author's first or last name that starts with the letter A. And I'm picking The Prairie Doctor's Bride by Catherine Albright. I'll be reading this on ebook. It is a Harlequin romance novel, and it looks really cute. It's a Western. I just love a good Western. Category number 2, Olympian Gods and Goddesses. Hera is this month. Every month they pick a different god or goddess, Olympian god or goddess, and then they pick a prompt that goes with it. And it says, she was the queen of the Olympian gods. In the story of the quest of the Golden Fleece, Hera was the gracious protector of the heroes. She had few, if any, redeeming qualities. She never forgot an injury. And it says, read a book that has royalty, a jealousy, or a vengeful character, or one where a woman protects her man. So I went with the royalty aspect, and I'll be reading My Fair Princess by Vanessa Kelly. I'll be listening to this on audio from my library. No, I won't. Yes, I will. From my library, sorry. And it is the first book in the Improper Princesses series. And it is going to be narrated on audio by Beverly A. Crick. I have listened to her narrate before, and she's really good. The next one is the featured author challenge for this month was Alexandra Ivy. And it's read a book, you know, by Alexandra Ivy, or an author with her first or last name, or one of the other prompts if you didn't want to read from that author. And I'm unfamiliar with this author. I looked at her work. She writes mostly paranormal, and I'm not a fan of paranormal generally. And I already had so many books that I need to get through that to add a new author or something, sometimes some months I'm really excited about reading the featured author. Some months not so much. So this month I was not feeling it, but one of the other prompts was to read a book that's paranormal. And the book I'll be reading is Wicked Deeds by Heather Graham. I will be listening to this on audio from Scribd. And it is book number 23 in the Crew of Hunters series. It is narrated on audio, of course, by Luke Daniels. Super stoked that Scribd has these books. I cannot wait to read it. If you want more information about Scribd, Scribd, I'm not sure. People pronounce it differently. I want to pronounce the D. Or like Scribd. No, it's probably just Scribd. We'll go with that. I will leave a link to the video I did about it in the description box below, so feel free to have a check on that. And I didn't realize that the link I posted in that video gives you guys 2 months for free. Also, I didn't know until I got an email from Scribd that when you guys sign up using that link, I get a month for free too, which is pretty cool. So I didn't realize that, so thank you very much for everybody who signed up. But anyway, sorry, that was a total side note. So yes, book number 23 in the Crew of Hunters series. It's a paranormal. It's more ghosts and things like that, which I don't mind. It's the vampires and stuff that I'm not a huge fan of. Now, a side note on this one, I did not read Dark Rites in July. I didn't get to it. I didn't have time. I had some other books that I wanted to get finished. So I will be adding that to my TBR as well. So that takes me now to 27 books in August. I can do this. I know ahead of time how many books I'm going to have. In July, what happened was, and I'm not complaining, is that I found out that Read Bliss wanted me to do a video for them in August, which was absolutely cool. But I kind of had some extra books that were kind of added to my TBR mid-month. So that's what kind of pushed some to the wayside, which again, I am not complaining. I'm getting to read brand new releases, and that makes me super duper happy. So anyway, so that's what happened there. Category number 4 is August is Admit You're Happy Month. Read a book that leaves a smile on your face. I'll be reading Map of the Heart by Susan Wiggs. Again, another one I'm getting from Scribd. And this is going to be narrated on audio by Christina Traister. I'm not familiar with her as a narrator. I am very much looking forward to this Susan Wiggs book. I've had it on my radar for a long time now, and I'm super stoked that I'm finally going to get to it. The next one, speaking about books I'm super excited about, category number 5 is National Girlfriends Day, which is August 1st. That's today, the day I'm filming this. Read a book that features girlfriends as part of the story. So I will be reading Rainy Day Friends by Jill Shalvis, another one I'm getting from Scribd. Book number 2 in the Wildstone series. I have been so looking forward to this one since the first book last summer. And this is going to be narrated on audio by Karen White. Yay. Category number 6 is International Beer Day, which is August the 3rd. Funny enough, I was at the Toronto Beer Festival last weekend. Read a book with the characters who drink beer. Or read a book set in a bar, a book with scenes in a bar, or a book featuring a blue-collar worker. So I'm going with blue-collar worker, and I'll be reading Sweet Dreams by Stacey Claflin. I'll be reading this one on ebook. It is the first book in the Indigo Bay series, and the main character is a repairman, so he's a blue-collar worker. Category number 7 is Son and Daughter Day, August 11th. Read a book tagged as YA, new adult, or a children's book, or read a book with a child or children in the story. I just got this book on as an ebook, but my library actually has a copy of it on audio, so I'll be listening to it on audio, and that is Saint Anything by Sarah Dessen, which is, of course, a YA novel, narrated on audio by Taylor Maskerman, I think is how you pronounce her last name. Category number 8 is National Honeybee Awareness Day, August 18th. Because we all need to be aware of honeybees. Read a book where nature is part of the story, or one with flowers on the cover. I kind of went on a little bit of a I needed to fit this book in because it's on my summer book bingo, and this is the last month for the summer book bingo, and I'm down to my last few books. So I'm kind of veering off maybe a little bit on this one, and I'll be reading Deeper by Megan Hart. This is going to be narrated on audio by Savannah Richards. This is part of the Audible Romance package. There is water on the cover, and water is nature, so I'm letting it go. That's how I justify it, guys. Category number 9, Women's Equality Day, which is August 26th. Read a book with a strong female character. I'll be reading The Night Mark by Tiffany Rice. Another one I'm getting from Scribd. It is going to be narrated on audio by Terry, oh my goodness, Schauschenbelt, I think is how you pronounce her last name. So yes, I'm very much looking forward to this one. It is a historical time travel kind of romance. A little bit of a departure from the other ones that she's done recently, like The Bourbon Thief and The Lucky Ones, but it looks really good and I can't wait to read it. And the last one for the Triple RC Challenge is, of course, Category 11, Reader's Choice. Read any book of your choosing. I will be reading Captured by Chocolate by Stina Holmes on ebook. This is book number 11 in the Love at the Chocolate Shop series, second to last book in this series, you guys. Next month in September, I will be finishing it. It has been so good, and I've so thoroughly enjoyed it. My next group of challenges are the What to Read in 2018 challenges. This is part of the A Million More Pages group on Goodreads. I will link that group in the description box below as well. Essentially what this challenge is that you get 42 prompts, and throughout the year you need to read books that fit the prompts. So you have a whole year to complete this challenge. I mean, at this point now you've had, what, 5 months? But I've been doing this since January, and I do plan on doing it again next year because it was a lot of fun. So it's different tasks, and the first one, I pick these random, like I random with the challenges I have left, or the tasks I have left. So that's why the task numbers are out of order. So the first one is task 18, and it's list your TBR by 40 books per page and sort it from title Z to A. Pick a book off the first page. So essentially pick a book with a title that has a letter of the alphabet that's like towards Z. And I'll be reading Winning the Mail-Order Bride by Laurie Robinson. This will be on ebook. It's another Harlequin historical and another Western historical, which I love. It's book number 3 in the Oak Grove series. Task number 7. Go to the book page for any book you read in the last 30 days. Read one book that's listed on the Readers Also Enjoyed at the top right on Goodreads. If the book page for the book you read does not have that, pick a different book. And I will be reading Always My Girl by Samantha Chase. This is part of the Audible romance package. It's book number 3 in the Shaughnessy Brothers series. I read Samantha Chase earlier this year, and I really like her work. And is that cover not like summer to the extreme? It's so cute. I love her jaunty little hat. I think it's adorable. And this is going to be narrated on audio by Christopher Kipanik and Julia Moika, I think is how you pronounce her last name. Task number 24. Go to your homepage, scroll through the updates, and pick any book mentioned. So, you know, your updates friends list of so-and-so finished this book, or they updated this book, or they added this book to their TBR. So I scrolled through, and thank you to Karen from Rather Be Reading. She put this one on at the time I created the list, and it was The Ones Who Got Away by Ronnie Lauren. Another one from Scribd on audio, and it's book number 1 in the Ones Who Got Away series, narrated on audio by Janine Bartel. I cannot wait to read this one. I've heard so many great things about it, and oh, I'm so excited about being able to read it. Task number 19. Pick a list on Listopia and read a book off of it. Be sure to tell us what list you picked from. So this one I cheated just a little bit. This is another book that I had on my summer romance book bingo, and I was like down to the last, like this one and deeper, where the last two I had to try and fit into something. So I essentially went to the book and found a list that it was on and added it. So the book is Say Yes to the Marquess by Tessa Dare. I love that title. I will be listening to this one on audio. I believe this is part of the, yes, it's part of the Audible romance package. It is from the list Lords, Dukes, Rakes. Oh my. It's a really great list on Listopia, you guys. There's a lot of great books on that list. This is book number 2 in the Castles Ever After series, and it's being narrated on audio by Carmen Rose. She narrated the first book in the series, and I really enjoyed it. So my next little section here is series catch-up, as I like to call it. So I pick a book from 2017, from my series list of 2017, that I was reading through then, and from my series list for this year, and try and catch up to some books. So the first one is What She Wants by Sheila Roberts. This is part of the Audible romance package. It is book number 3 in the Life in Icicle Falls series, and it's going to be narrated on audio by Emily Brewer, excuse me. And the next one is Renegades Pride by B.J. Daniels. This is another book I'm getting off of Scribd, and it is book number 1, actually, in the Montana Cahill series. Again, I read book 2, I think, already, as part of my B.J. Daniels video that I did for Read Bliss about a month or so ago. So now I'm going to go back and read book number 1, and this is going to be narrated on audio by Graham Winton. The next one is my TBR jar pick, which is my anticipated reads rewind video that I do every month. I go back a year before and I look at all the books that I had on my anticipated reads list, and I kind of just like from the ones that I haven't read yet, I add them into a jar and I pull pull a book out essentially. And I did film that video. Something happened with it and it kind of got corrupted. So, and I honestly wasn't feeling refilming it, because it's not the same when you're doing something like that and you're like pulling something out of a jar. It's like doing a TBR unwrapping video. If something happens and the video messes up, to go back and read, it's not the same. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, sorry guys, but the book I did pull was Holiday in the Hamptons by Sarah Morgan. This is another one that I'm getting on audio from my library, and it is book number 5 in the From Manhattan with Love series, narrated on audio by Jennifer Woodward. Oh, I'm so happy to be continuing on with this series. There's only one more book after this, and that kind of makes me sad because it's so good, but you know, I love this series. So now we're on to all the review books. Sorry, I had an itch. Now, you might have noticed that I was very, very heavy with the audiobooks. Reason being is because all of the, except for one, all of the review books are ebook. So this is going to be the bulk of my ebook reading, will be review books. The Read Bliss aren't really, like they are, I'm reading them to talk about them in the video, but it's not necessarily a written review kind of idea. I do plan on doing written reviews for all these books for my blog. So stay tuned for that. I'll tell you more about that when I read the books every week or so. But yeah, so let's jump right into it. So I'll start with the books that I'm going to be reading for Read Bliss for a video coming out later in August. Kind of a little sneak peek of the books I'm going to be talking about. And the first book is Ranger's Justice by Laura Lacombe. And this is book number 1 in the Rangers of Big Bend series. Very excited. I believe this is a romantic suspense novel, a Harlequin romantic suspense novel. The next one is Rodeo Rescuer by Lynette Eason, book number 2 in the Wrangler's Corner series. This is a love-inspired suspense novel. Here comes the Christmas books, you guys. The first one, Lone Star Christmas by Dolores Fawson. I can't wait. This is book number 1 in the Coldwater, Texas series. Now, this actually looks like a contemporary series where Dolores Fawson typically writes more suspense, so this one should be really interesting, and I'm really looking forward to it. The next one, I just love Maisie Yates, is A Tall, Dark Cowboy Christmas by Maisie Yates, book number 4 in the Gold Valley series. I cannot wait. I have been reading through this series over the last month or so, and it is fantastic. I am so looking forward to this book, you guys. And the last one is Big Sky River by Linda Leon Miller. I'll be listening to this one from Scribd, actually. This is the one that's available on audio. Read Bliss or Harlequin provided me with the books to read. And this one, though, because it's a book that is a bit older, was available on audio. So I chose that format to listen to it in. And it's book number 3 in the Parable Montana series, being narrated on audio by Jack Garrett. And I've listened to him narrate before. I think he narrated Logan that I read last month or the month before. And he did a good job. I enjoy his narration. And the last are the NetGalley books that I have to read in September. Whoa, I'm pushing it. The summer's already gone by fast enough, guys. For August. And the first one is Cowboy Charm School by Margaret Brownlee. This is book number 1 in the Haywire Bride series. It is a historical romance novel, and it looks super adorable and sweet, and I'm sure it's going to be great. The next one is To Have and To Harley by Regina Cole. This is the first book in the Bikers and Bride series. I'm actually, as I'm filming this, I'm currently reading this book, and it's super duper adorable, and I cannot wait to talk to you guys about it. I should have it actually to talk about on my weekly wrap-up this coming Saturday, so stay tuned. Next up is Maybe For You by Nicole McLaughlin. This is book number 3 in the Whiskey and Weddings series, another contemporary. And last but not least off this massive TBR is Second Chance at To Love Lane by Kieran Kramer. This is book number 3 in the To Love Lane series, another cute little contemporary romance. So that's my TBR for the month of August, you guys. There's a lot, let's be honest. But I'm not at all overwhelmed. I don't at all feel overwhelmed. I feel perfectly capable of being able to get through all of these books. I read an awful lot. It's kind of what I do. You know, if I'm not at work or I'm not watching BookTube, I'm reading, or I'm listening to an audiobook and knitting, or, you know, whatever. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not overwhelmed at all. Anyway, guys, let me know in the comments below if you've read any of these books and what you thought about them. Do any of them sound good to you? And yeah, until my next video, guys, take care and happy reading. Thank you so much for watching. Bye, guys.